My name is Heath Adams. I go by the Cyber Mentor online. I started out as a YouTuber, as you mentioned, and that kind of just spiraled into this crazy career, I guess. It started out just doing some YouTube videos for really myself to kind of remember some of the things that I was learning in IT and hacking, and that ended up going into creating a course, which led to creating the Zero to Hero course, which led to Udemy, and eventually going out and branching out and starting my own cybersecurity consulting firm, and that led to an academy, and we're kind of just growing and growing. And eventually, yeah, we've managed to create an academy. We've got 8 courses on there now, all related to cybersecurity in some way. And we've got the cybersecurity consulting side of the business too. And now we're doing certifications, which is kind of why we're here to talk about, and to just really trying to make education affordable, I think, is our main goal and motto. And I think we're doing a pretty good job at it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to share this, we're looking at TCM Academy's page right now in the course offerings, and you can see Heath has actually added a couple. This is the OG practical ethical hacking one that so many people have enjoyed and taken over the years. Really, I've personally done the OSINT one here, but if you're going to get into pen testing, they got the Windows and Linux privilege escalation. I can see Joe Hell here is and Graham Helton. You've got some new authors in addition to yourself. So really building a nice little catalog here of content for people to take advantage of. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, any comments about the catalog, Heath?
We're growing, and if anybody's watching and wants to create a course for us, we're always taking applications. We've got some new content coming out really, really soon. So just continuously rolling and trying to, again, just submit out there quality content and keep it. As you saw, there's no courses over $30. So, and usually that's the high end of the pricing. So we're trying to keep it really affordable and just give it the education that I think we wish we had when we were coming up and going through, our training ourselves.
Yeah, and to say affordable, I mean, that is absolutely right. And I regularly post on my Discord server and social media and stuff when you throw out coupon codes, which you do all the time. In fact, I'd like to plug one right now. Right now, those courses are $30 on the surface, but Heath is actually running a promotion right now through September 19th, so basically through the weekend. And I believe it's 50 off September is the coupon code, and you'll get 50% off. So I mean, you can, for $15, you can get an amazing course, right? Like I said, the practical ethical hacking one, I've actually bought a few times for various reasons and have really enjoyed it. And it's actually the course that I direct people to who are serious about wanting to become penetration testers, because it really gives you that nice entry level experience into the I guess the role, if you will.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's definitely the place we direct people to as well. If you want to get a feel and just kind of a wide variety of what you could experience in hacking, I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah. So, okay. So Heath, we are talking about the PNPT, right? So what exactly is the PNT, the Practical Network Penetration Testing Certification, and how is it different? That's really what a lot of people have reached out and asked me. And I even reached out to you personally and asked you so I could be able to answer that question. But can you tell us in the audience what is the key differentiator? What makes it a special certification?
Yeah, so in my opinion, it is the first certification to go out there and actually test you on your abilities to perform a network penetration test. You have the flexibility of using any tools and resources that you want. You have a 5-day exam environment, which simulates a real world pen test. You're expected to go out and do open source intelligence, which you would have to go out and perform an external pen test against our organization, break in, and then bypass what is a fully patched environment. There's even protections in place and mechanisms in place that you get around and fully compromise a domain controller. So the goal there is to be able to say, hey, I understand and have been through this process like a pen tester would go through, and understand how to perform open source intelligence, how to break into a network, how to pivot within a network, compromise domain controller using Active Directory tools. And from there, once you do that, you have to write a report professional report like you would present to a client. And then you have to come and actually sit down with one of us and debrief that report to us so that you go through the whole process. So when an employer sees PNPT on the resume, they know, hey, this person understands at a bare minimum a junior to maybe mid-level Active Directory, pen testing, open source intelligence gathering, even external pen testing methodology, and can write and speak about those vulnerabilities and how to remediate those as well. So it kind of just puts you through what you would experience on the job and gives you that practice as well before you go just get thrown into a pen test position and doing consulting. And it might be different for a lot of individuals who have been technical for a long time, but never had the writing or the communication skill sets developed.
Yeah. So I guess who would be kind of the target audience? You just shared with us that someone who gets this cert would be able to demonstrate competency and capability of a junior to mid-level, pen tester. So I guess who is it? Like a lot of people are trying to pivot from yourself, right? Let's use you. People are trying to pivot from accounting into cybersecurity in the penetration testing space. Is that a good candidate? Do they have to have an IT background?
Not necessarily an IT background. We tell people that you should have some A+ level knowledge, like help desk level knowledge, understanding the basic ports and protocols from a networking perspective, understanding how computers work. Over as a general overall whole, like you don't want to come in here say I've never really understood computers before and just go right into pen testing, because you're just going to be going off of a weak foundation that will likely crumble and maybe even deter you from wanting to move forward with this. So having a basic IT background, having some networking experience helps. Just like a network plus level, like understanding ports and services, understanding subnetting, understanding just the basics of networking, because you will be talking networking with other network engineers. You might even be talking web development with other web developers. So just understanding the basics of these areas doesn't mean you have to be a senior network engineer. It doesn't mean you have to be a senior web developer or any of this stuff to get into it. It just helps to have those core foundational skills before just jumping in head first.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's really two parts of this certification exam, I guess. There's the technical piece where you're actually owning an environment, and then there's the, I guess, operational piece, business side of it with communication and reporting and stuff like that. So from the technical piece, I'm curious personally. I mean, have you guys outsourced some type of lab environment, or is it like an AWS instance that you guys manage, or what's the technical? How is that managed?
Yeah, it's all AWS, all Terraform, and I guess shout out to John who helped build a lot of that back end for us. So I came to him, said, hey, I've got an exam environment. Here are all the OVA files. I need this to work and go and be scalable. And he really took that and built it out in Terraform to where it just automates the instance. And then we've got some different conditions based on, who purchases and scheduling and stuff like that go on in the scripting in the back end. But it's all, at the end of the day, it's all AWS.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's the same kind of exam for everybody, right? So like if I'm like a senior level person, I'm going to get the same that a junior level person would get. There's no like PNPT associate or PNPT, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we do some exam rotation, but it's going to be at the same level of ease for everybody that's taking the exam. Eventually, we'll do a more advanced certification for it, but this is kind of like, this was established as a proof of concept. Does the concept work? Is there buy-in? Can we do some disruption in the industry? And if so, then we'll go ahead and take that and make more certifications and I guess snowball from there.
Yeah. So speaking of that, as far as, its impact on the industry and stuff like that, OSCP, again, I'm not a pen tester. You're the pen tester, but from my perspective and where I sit, OSCP is like the gold ticket, right? Like you get that, you're good to go. And PNPT's just come on the scene in maybe the last few months. What kind of traction are you seeing in the market along the lines of adoption and recognition, if you will, of the PNPT?
Yeah, it's actually been crazy. It's going a lot faster than I had anticipated. we were going and looking at like goals of, hey, we top end goal, we want to sell 1,000 of these in a year. We want to get on some job descriptions by the end of the year. And we just wanted to slowly snowball that adoption. And that happened really quick. I think we were on some job descriptions within the first month. And now we're getting on even some bigger names, like Tenable was the biggest one that we just got onto. And being able to get buy-in from managers and other organizations like that has been great. So when we first started out, and you go on like places like Reddit and you search for PNPT, if you go to like the older posts, you'll just see people saying, oh, it's new, it has no relevance, it's not worth it. And now you go search and look at some of the more recent posts, and everybody's like, hey, this is actually a legitimate certification. You should totally do this. I think it's going places. And that's incredible to see in what's been 4 months, 5 months, just the amount of industry buy-in for this, where it takes, I mean, if you look at another case study, like eLearn Security has been around since 2010. And they're still trying to get to, where they want to be. I know they're INE now, but like they're still trying to get to that OffSec level or that SANS level. And we're obviously nowhere close to that. But the pace that feels like we're rocketing has been impressive from just a case study standpoint with the one certification. So I think we're doing a little better than my expectations by far.
Yeah, and I feel like part of your underlying mission of making, because your disruption isn't just along the lines of having a certification that is practical, skills based, and relevant to basically affirm to an employer or a client that this person actually knows what they're talking about, but also the pricing model. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Heath, PNPT is currently $300 if you're buying it right off the shelf, right? And then your education is, $30, but usually on a discount. So for whatever, let's say $500 with no discounts or whatever, you could be fully trained and certified as a pen tester and ready for market. I mean, is that kind of the idea?
That's the idea. And it's $400 if you want to do the training. So we throw in some discounts there given the environment. So yeah, 300 for standalone, 400 for not, and you get the training with it. And with that in mind, we also offer free retake. So we lose money when you fail. And that's our goal. Like our goal is we want to train you and get you to pass. But we also don't want to make revenue off of your failures, because that means we're failing as an educational company. We want to make sure that you can go back and do this again. So we offer the free retake, make sure that students can go through and have the opportunity to go again if they need to. And that's all built into the pricing model. And yeah, the pricing model is completely anti-industry. There's nobody offering practical exams that's a big name certification out there that I would say is even under $1,000. So we're really just trying to prove that you can have quality education, you can have quality examinations, and it doesn't have to be thousands of dollars, especially for people that are in situations like I grew up really poor. So like if people who are getting priced out of an education because of their social status or where they live or where they are born, it's not what we want to be. So we want to give those people an opportunity too, because I mean the salaries in pen testing and the salaries in cybersecurity in general are life-changing. I mean, you can completely go from being poor and getting a salary that is beyond what you probably could ever imagine. And it's just, it absolutely can be life-changing. And we're trying to help with that as well.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I actually had, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name right now. Black Hills, John, I can't think of his last name right now. I don't know why. But basically, other professionals in our industry that are trying to make education affordable are doing the same thing and knocking down gates, if you will. And if you look at Black Hills, they do something similar where they have this rotating 3-course schedule of 3 courses, and it's pay what you want, $0 to $400. I can't believe I can't think of his name right now. I'm so spaced right now.
John Strand.
John Strand, thank you, Jesus. So anyways, it's awesome for people like yourself, people like Black Hills, to be able to basically prove that this is a model. That way people in our industry have choices. And I feel like if you look at, basic economics, supply and demand, if you guys are providing a better, a supply that's at a lower cost effectively, the demand will go towards that. And then, those other higher price ones may have to adjust accordingly, which then helps everybody out, right?
Yeah, that's the long-term goal is not just for us. Like I would love to see the other certifications come down in pricing, or love to see the other certifications even become more practical. And I felt like we've done some disruption there. I've seen some along with us and what eLearn Security was doing with the quarterly updates and pushing Active Directory. And I think that you've seen other big name vendors move towards that direction of, okay, we need to actually have Active Directory in our educational model. And it takes somebody to actually come in and have a provable concept, or otherwise these other giants, I think, are just going to stay in their ways. If it's working, why change it? So without some pushback and without people going other places, it's just going to be the same thing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're in the audience and you have a question for Heath about TCM Academy or PNPT that relates to you, go ahead and drop them in chat right now. I'm really focused on talking with Heath instead of modding. But if you could preface it with like a Q, a capital Q and a period, and then ask your question, I'll be able to scrub through it while Heath is responding. And we'll get Heath some of these questions for him to answer live on stream. So while people are queuing up there, Heath, I wanted to ask you, you kind of alluded to this, but what are the different ways that people can prepare for the PNPT? Because I actually reached out to you, right? I've got some cybersecurity background. I've dabbled academically on the pen testing side, and I was going to go get the PNPT to do a video on it personally for Simply Cyber, and I just don't have the cycles for it. But I was like, how would I actually be prepared to take this? So how can someone in the audience or even myself prepare for this certification?
So we push people towards the training program. If you do the with training, our goal is that everything inside the training is what will prepare you for the exam. There are no surprises whatsoever. So if you go through the training, you do all that, you should be able to pass. Now, again, foundations are important. So if you're coming in with no IT experience, no networking experience whatsoever, you don't know what a subnet is, you don't know what DNS is, little things like that, then you probably need to take a step back and do some other work prior to coming in. But even in the PEH, like with the foundational first thing you go through in the training, that is taking you and showing you how to download Linux, run Kali Linux, even if you've never done it before. We go through networking, we go through subnetting, we go through refreshers. It's just, we try to give you as much of a background and foundation as we can before just diving right into here's hacking. So we're trying to prepare for that. We are working on developing more courses and content that's going to be more beginner level as well. Like we've got the Python 101. We're in development on a Linux course. Eventually, we're hoping to have like a practical A+ type course that we might even release for free, just to get people out there to have to get experience with this kind of stuff, and we can be a one-stop shop where people can come in and get that background. So yeah, to prepare, honestly, if you've got the basic foundations down, our job and our goal is to prepare you for that exam. And it comes back down to it again. If you're not passing, then we're failing. So our goal at the end of the day is to get you through that exam with our material.
Okay. So if someone has gone through, if someone is a professional pen tester already, do you think that they would be equipped to just sit for this particular certification exam?
Yeah, that's really what the standalone voucher is for. Somebody that is either professional or they've gone through a bunch of materials, or maybe they've already purchased all the courses, been through them, and just like, hey, I'm going to go back and do this exam. So that is really what it's for. And we've seen some really good success from, I would say, senior levels on the exam. They tend to crush it, and as they should. But they are also our advocates. So it's the senior levels that are pushing the changes within these organizations. They're saying, hey, I'm going to go have my juniors take this certification so that way they can get trained on this. And I know that if they pass, then yeah, they're qualified to do the work. Or they're coming through and taking this to say, hey, I can now say I took this, and we should offer this on a job description. And it's those seniors and those already working the field that are kind of helping the word of mouth and the spread of the, I guess, authenticity of what the certification is.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Do you want to take some questions from the audience, Heath?
I am ready. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to pre-screen these, right? So, hope for the best
All
here.
right.
Okay. Can I use your course at the Moon of Endor? Nice. Asks, can I use your courses to prep for OSCP?
Yes, although we do not claim to be an official OSCP prep. We've heard from plenty of people that they use the content to pass the OSCP, but that is no guarantee from us, and you still have to get the materials from them. So, just like anything with that certification, outside resources are heavily used. So. We have training material. Tiberius has Prevest courses. TryHackMe is a great resource for OSCP as well. And just making sure that you have your fundamentals and your methodology down, and you have good notes and you're ready to embrace that exam.
Yeah, absolutely. We got some love for the puppy in the background, Heath, just so you're aware of that.
That's Prince, yeah.
We're getting a lot of questions. I'll pull a couple out around specific curriculum that you would be possibly in the pipeline. So I'll grab these. Anything for cloud pen test?
Yes. So I hate to say that it's coming, only because I will only definitively say that once somebody has more than halfway developed a course and I know it's in progress. There is one in progress. However, we get submissions all the time, and we go through submissions, approval, say, yeah, let's do this. And then people, once they start realizing how difficult it is to make a course, start backing off and saying, oh, never mind. This is going to be way more effort than I thought it would be. So we have one in development. I trust that it's going to get done. If it doesn't, one will be coming. That is something that is on our hit list for, we need to have this, sooner than later.
Okay. Will all the curriculum be heavily technical focused on pen testing? Will it be exclusively in that vein?
We are hoping to add more around, like I mentioned earlier, some of the beginner stuff, like A+ level, net, even Net Plus, not geared towards CompTIA, but geared towards, hey, practical troubleshooting or practical even building a computer and just stuff for basic IT. Ideally, we're going to get some blue team stuff in. I would love some defender type stuff, or some incident response or forensics would be really cool. It's just getting those submissions to come through. And then even some of the audit type material, I think would be useful, and some compliance type material would be useful, so that we can have a kind of that one-stop shop for cyber and education. There's a little bit for everybody. They don't just have to be a pen tester or be pen test focused to come here, even though that is what our base is currently.
Disturb wants to know if you guys are looking at Wi-Fi pen testing curriculum.
We are.
Same answer, yeah.
So I would love to do that course. There are a couple of issues with that. The first is I would have to go record that course likely somewhere else so that I don't dox my location. So that's one thing. The second thing about that course is we are looking at how do we make a Wi-Fi certification. There's not a lot out there. OffSec does one, but you literally remote into their offices in order to attack their Wi-Fi. And we've been looking, so if anybody knows, please feel free to email me, but we've been looking for solutions on how do you mimic a Wi-Fi network? Can you do that in the cloud? Is there something that we can do? Because that would be a really fun certification to have, where you have to attack maybe WPA2, maybe you go through a guest network, do some scanning, like you would a literal Wi-Fi pen test, and attacking enterprise too, and seeing how we could, spin that up and have a nice little wireless certification. I think it's in the goals, it's in the plans. It's just the troubleshooting some of those technicalities.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's easy to say, oh, sure, we can offer that, and then the second you start to practically understand how that could happen, it becomes quite challenging. Yeah.
Yes.
Just a quick shout out to Josh Mason of Cyber Supply Drop. We're giving away a PNPT with training compliments of Heath and the Cyber Mentor and TCM Academy for veterans over on LinkedIn. So thank you for that. ADB asked, looks like courses that helped him clear OSCP this week. So he wants to know, should he move towards PNPT to land that junior red team role?
I think there is some, there's obviously overlap between courses, but I think that there's enough difference there that I think it would be a lot of value add. I think it would complement, because you have the OCP now. That is that's kind of going to get you into the interviews. And it's really now, what do you do when you're in the interviews? And really those rely heavily on network pen testing, especially Active Directory in those environments to be able to say, like, I went through an Active Directory exam and I was able to overcome that, go through the whole process. I think that would be value add for sure.
Yeah, and just as an FYI, he mentioned earlier in chat here that you actually helped him. Your coursework curriculum helped him get OSCP. So add
Nice.
one to the list.
Congratulations.
Frankenstock wants to know how many people have actually are PNPT certified.
Good question. I think as of today, we're at 29 total certifications. We are at 600 purchases, I believe. So we've got a lot of people sitting on it. We've had, I think last weekend we had 10 people taking the exam at once. So we're starting to see the uptick as like every weekend seems to be when people like to sit, and then we're just seeing it. I think we got 5 going through at any given time usually now. And then weekends starting to get a little bit more hectic. So I think that number is going to escalate very quick now that people are kind of getting through. I think there's the buffer of, hey, I purchased back maybe in May, and now I've gone through all the training material and taking some time and getting through it. So we're going to be seeing more and more, I think, pretty ramping up pretty quick here.
Oh, nice. Mastermind Sec had a question. If the industry is already demanding it and the rec already says PNPT, then the hard work's done. But I think this question's asking, how do you, if you go get it, how do you, and it's not part of the job rec, how do you promote it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's one of those things where for us, it's a snowball effect. So the more people that get it, the more people that buy into it and tell their managers, everybody else, that's how it's going to get on these job descriptions and become more prominent and more well known. If the job description isn't asking for the PNPT, it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody hasn't heard of it. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hold any value. And I think it still gives you something to talk about in an interview, because you can say, I went through this. Here's all the things that I had to do. Here are some of the attacks that I know and learned, and all these steps related to the exam itself. So I think there's still value add. It's going to definitely take time for industry adoption. We're slowly doing that, but I completely recognize that is one of the things holding us back as well.
Awesome. So Heath, I know we're going to continue taking questions here, but do you want to run a giveaway while we're here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
We've got build your own bundles. So we'll do a four pack of the build your own 4-pack, I guess, and then we'll get if you get an email address, I can get them enrolled in that. Okay, so we're doing a giveaway for build your own bundle. Is that, like, I was setting up the giveaway while you said that, so I'm sorry. Yep. Build your own. It's a 4-pack bundle, so you can pick whatever 4 courses you want from the Academy. Okay, cool. All right. So the way to enter this, people, is to put in hashtag TCM into chat right now. So hashtag TCM. This is a whole new, like, giveaway feature that I found through the provider that does my live stream. So if you guys enter hashtag TCM, you should be entered into this giveaway. And oh yeah, there we go. All right. So that's ramping up. So while that is ramping up, Heath, yeah, keep going, guys. We'll take one more question from the audience here, and then we'll pull it, and then we'll keep on trucking. Sure. So IT career questions. Personally, Heath, how does it feel having such an impact on our community? Yeah, it's hi, Zach, by the way. Yeah. It's incredible. Like, it's one of those things where I feel like you can easily take it for granted, but there's emails that come in and I read some of them, and it's just like amazing to see what people have done and where they've gone. So, starting with materials and courses, or even just like being a spark of inspiration, even if they never went through any of my stuff. They said, hey, I saw your YouTube channel. That's what got me interested in this field. And it just took off from there. And I love that. So, that's the whole goal of getting into it, and being able to help with that has been an awesome experience. Yeah, that's really awesome. And it's kind of like, it's just so satisfying. You're making like an impact, right, on people's lives. And it's cool. So, all right, I think we're ready to draw. What do you think, Heath? Good to go?
99
I think that
entries.
looks good. Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh,
there's
100.
100. Yeah. All right, here we go. We're going to draw for the build your own bundle.
Ooh,
Oh,
this
this
adds
is nice.
suspense. Yeah.
Yeah. I need some audio to do like here we go.
It's like a wheel.
And our winner is Jason Greathouse. Congratulations, Jason. Either connect with Heath directly or connect with me, and I'll get you connected with Heath, and we can get that prize set up for you. Cool. All right. So congratulations. That's fun. I'll have to use that giveaway again. That was cool.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
So here's an interesting question, Heath, and we can expand it a little bit larger. Are there any kind of demographics or groups that get discounts for? I know you run coupon codes all the time, but do you run anything for like veteran students, et cetera?
Yeah, so for courses, we don't. Only because we give out such a massive discount so often. It's just like it's not worth us saying here's 20% when you can get 50%, in a few days usually. So, but for the PNPT, we do give voucher discounts for military and military veterans. Doesn't matter what country you're from. Same thing with students. Doesn't matter what country you're from. First line responders, any sort of like medical, whatever, nurses, doctors, hospital employees, etc. And then educators as well. So anybody that falls into those categories, yeah, we offer 20%. All you got to do is email us. So our email is certifications@tcm-sec.com.
You want
And
to
you can
say that again, and I'll throw it up on the
sure
screen.
certifications
Yep.
at TCM-sec like security and .com. And all you got to do is
plural.
certifications plural. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And then all you got to do is prove that you are what you say you are. So if it's like a photo ID, or if you're a student, you can literally just email us from your student email. Whatever. We're not strict on the requirements. And then once you send proof, we'll send you back a coupon code.
All right. Very nice. I love it. I didn't screen this one. Will there be a course on GRC or something like this, pivoting from the technical courses only? Yeah. I mean, if you want to answer that, Heath, you already kind of touched on it, but.
Yeah, I think we're open to it. It's just we're not there yet. So I think in the future, yes.
Awesome. All right. A lot of people showering you with love. You'll have to go back and watch the replay, Heath. A lot of people attributing you for all the good you've done.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I keep looking over, so I don't know what it looks like because I can't see Anstey over here. So I keep looking over, and people are probably like, "Why is he looking away so much?" I'm trying to read the comments when I can, but I appreciate all the love.
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of talked about this, but I guess the question that I had prepared was who would value from the PNPT. So there's so many. When I first started getting into doing this, YouTube cybersecurity content creation for people, help get them in the industry, I really honestly had a very narrow view of who that those people were, and it's since exploded into a very wide prism of different types of people who are trying to get into the field. So the PNPT is what it is. We've been talking about it for the last half hour or so, and it's excellent. Who would value from it? Should I go get it? Is the question people might ask themselves.
Yeah, so I think it's not limited to just attackers. It's not just red teaming. Like, yes, the purpose is designed for red teaming and for a job in that category. But similar to other certifications, like especially offensive related, you see them on defensive job applications all the time, or job descriptions all the time. And that's something too, because in order to defend, I feel like you have to know how to attack. It's the same thing for us. We, as attackers, we need to know what the defense looks like and how we can get around those defenses. And as a defender, you probably want to know what attacks are being used in the environment. So to be able to think like an attacker might help you be a better defender. I think it can help from all different avenues of cybersecurity. It doesn't have to just be attack defense, but I think that I think there's a lot of value add depending on where you're coming from, even from like, I don't know, like a C-level. We've had all kinds of crazy individuals going through and backgrounds going through this, from C-levels to students to younger to older to we've even had some like B-level celebrities reach out, and it's just like random. Like you would never imagine who's like going through these, and it really is like it's true. Like it's more than just for the offensive side of things.
Okay, that's excellent. I hadn't even considered that, but it's totally it totally makes sense. So, I had taken, like many people in chat, I had taken practical ethical hacking, and I loved it. I really, really, if you haven't taken one of Heath's courses before, and I'm sure the other instructors at TCM Academy are good, but if you haven't taken one of Heath's courses before, he has a genuine knack for delivering education and clearly communicating. And I really, really appreciate the way that you do networking and break that down really specific to really what do you need to know versus what is like the entire networking world, if you will. But one of the key things that I loved about practical ethical hacking that was very meta was that you have a Discord server companion to the education, and you can go there to get questions answered that you may have. So it's not it's the education isn't one dimension or one way. It's not, it's asynchronous where you can interact with it and get more out of it than just watching a video. So can you talk a little bit? I know we hadn't discussed this in advance, but can you talk a little bit about the Discord server? And I'll see if I can pull it up just to show it, because I feel like that's such a resource that complements everything that you're doing that some people may not know about.
Yeah, discord.gg/TCM. And yeah, it's incredible to see how it's grown. I think we just hit 30,000 members.
Wow.
And that is with purging active only. So we don't have like dead accounts sitting around, not being active in the community. So what's good about that is we do have all the resources that are available in terms of we have the ability to go in there and yes, access the academy. Like you're showing kind of like the PEH and getting access to those areas. But we also have we have places to talk about different operating systems. We've got places to talk about different areas like red team, blue team, forensics, etc. There, we've got resume help, career questions, all kinds of different areas for people and where they might, could maybe find help. So what we do is we are a community that helps each other. And I advocate for that so heavily because it falls into networking as well. Like a lot of the people that I see getting jobs or that I will offer a job to, or I'll push out to the job market, are people that have just been giving to the community. They're active in the community. They can go in, they can actually just say, like I am helping other people, and that pays its dividends. So being able to plant seeds, network with individuals in a community like this, I think is really good. And just being able to come in here. And like you said, we've got course channels. We do have paid staff that actually sit there and help students if they've got trouble. But there's also, you'll see students helping each other, which is amazing. And that's the kind of the community that you want, is for each other to be propped up by each other, I guess is the way to say it. And I think we do a good job of doing that, even given the size that we've grown to. Yeah,
it's definitely one of my preferred, I guess, Discord servers. You end up having so many Discord servers that you can't really frequent too many of them, but that one's excellent. I noticed you've got a new logo there as well. Probably official today or yesterday, I suppose.
And new logo, who dis? Yeah, we just got it. We just released it today, actually.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. All right, let me check here back in the chat a little bit more to see if anyone else has got any questions for our guest, Heath Adams. Let's see. Do you have any desire, Heath, to teach for Army, Navy, Marine, Air Force cyber team?
Yeah, I would love that. It's one of those things that I think eventually is going to be inevitable, given the ties and the education space. The military is, I guess, kind of selective. It's a lot of who you know and who can vouch for you and everything else. And I think we're making strides to getting into that area. So I would love to do it. It's just, I think finding the right people, finding the right opportunities to break in. But I think eventually I feel like that's inevitable.
Right. And for those in the United States, at least, the DoD 8570 is the kind of the document that outlines what certifications meet what, billets in the military. And they don't update. If you know anything about the US government, they don't update things like super fast, super frequently. So even getting into something like that could be a little bit of time. So let's see. We got Root Key Sec wanting to know if this is a policy question. Do you show your ID before or only during debriefing?
It's only during the debriefing. So at this time, we do monitoring, but we don't do like webcam monitoring. Like we're looking at logs and traffic, and we've got some other things behind the scenes that we're doing. But at the end of the day, the debrief is really the opportunity to say, hey, this is who I am. I'm the one whose name's going to be on this exam or on this certification, and you have to present to us your findings, and we have to ask questions about those findings. So if it's not you and somebody else took your exam and you have no idea what these attacks are and how to go through it, you're probably still going to be in hot water on the debrief section of it. So we can suss that out. It's not it's not a perfect solution, but it's kind of a meet in the middle kind of plan without being incredibly invasive on the exam front.
And it's probably practical just from like a execution perspective, right? I mean, I think it's an interesting solution. A lot of so many of us have taken exams, and it's like you go to like the sterile room and you got to pass through airlocks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's a little overkill.
Yeah.
Abdul wants to know how this stands up against or compares to GCIH.
In my opinion, two different exams completely. Incident handling and pen testing are completely different. So I don't think there's a lot of comparison there. There may be some overlap, but there's not a lot of comparison there.
I agree. So Sajith is asking, he's identifying as a beginner level, is EJPT or should he go PNPT? I guess the question really here is PNPT too advanced for beginner level practitioners?
No, so the PNPT, in my opinion, would incorporate almost what the EJPT and the PTP do all in one. We'll never have like a beginner level certification because that is our beginner level certification. It is more advanced than the EJPT, absolutely, but we hold your hand, start off real slow, and then build you up into what you need. So it's kind of a combination of both, almost like this is old me talking, but if you remember like the old CCNAs, you could do CCNA 1, then CCNA 2, or do them all at once. This is more of a, hey, get it all at once kind of exam. You don't have to go through 1 and 2.
Okay, perfect. I was responding to someone in chat here who was kind of giving me a hard time about the 8570 not really having a pen testing role, which I agree with. But so let's see, wrapping up the questions here. No, well, so this one's kind of funny. This isn't PNPT, but this one is actually pen testing, real life, real work, right? So you find a bunch of vulns, you write up a great report, you hand it to someone, and they throw it in the trash can.
Yep.
What do you do, Heath?
What can you do? I really don't know. Like we literally have clients that we just take the old report from last year and just rerun through that first because they're all going to still be there. Some clients are not, unfortunately, not concerned with security. They're there to check a box. They're there to say, yes, I did this and I'm out. It's not, hey, I need to fix this. If it's not like super critical, don't care about it. Not ideal, and it hurts our security souls, but they're unfortunately just going to be people out there. You can advocate as much as you want, but it doesn't mean that they're going to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. I would almost encourage you, at least because I've been on the other side as the recipient needing to have pen testing done. I'd almost encourage you, instead of doing it in a vacuum, and I'm kind of curious, Heath, on your thoughts on this, instead of doing it on a vacuum, actually talking to the CISO or whoever is actually asking you to come in and ask them what are their biggest pain points, because sometimes getting a third party to tell your bosses that this is a problem gets more capital applied to it, and it gets actually addressed than you saying it till you're blue in the face.
Yeah, and we do a lot of that in the sales process. So like early on when we're having sales calls, we're saying, what's your main concern? Why are you doing this? Where do you feel like you are most vulnerable to an attack. And sometimes that conversation opens up, well, our password policy sucks, but we can't get a buy-in from anybody to actually change this. So we want you to come in and just own us, and we can write a narrative along that too and say, hey, like, this is because of password policy, and put more emphasis on it because we had that conversation about goals and what they're really trying to achieve. And we can tailor even reporting to help sell that point for them. So I think that, yeah, absolutely, you can do that.
Another question just came in that I love. I would never have thought of it, and I think it's just a great question. Sam's asking, will PNPT, and by extension of that, I would think the course bundle that kind of supports PNPT, because PNPT is just a certification, will that kind of curriculum be useful if bug bounty, and I know he misspelled it, but he means bug bounty, if that is a direction that people are interested in exploring?
Again, like, if we had a Venn diagram, there's probably a little bit of overlap there, but this is very much a network based. There's some web app, and yeah, we go over the OWASP top 10 and some of that, but this is not a, hey, go out, find vulnerabilities in web applications type certification or course material. There are, again, yeah, there will be overlap, but unless we're talking like network-based bug bounties or something along those lines, probably not incredibly helpful. You'd be better off going down a different path, more focused on web app pen testing.
Okay, that's a great way to put it. We're getting some questions. It looks like some of these people joined late to the stream. Jimmy Mack, Heath mentioned this. There are arrangements for veterans and stuff. I think the idea is that you reach out to, is this the right one? Certifications at TCM Sec, and talk about who you are.
Yeah, so for the PNPT, there are. For the courses themselves, there's not, only because the course discounts that we put out there are greater than we would offer for a military discount anyway. So, but we don't really do any discounting for the PNPT. So if you do have a military background, then definitely reach out to us.
Yeah, and I would also point out for Jimmy Mack, and for those who joined the stream late, we're talking with Heath Adams of TCM Academy. He runs codes all the time. If you join his Discord server, you will find this out. But right now, until September 19th, so 3 days from this current live stream, if you use the code 50 off September, you'll get 50% off whatever it is you buy, as far as the courses go, right? So definitely take advantage of that. Like, for $15, you're like, it's insane. Like, it's insane. Honestly, the amount of value you get for $15 is ridiculous, which is why every time you throw a coupon code up in Discord, I'll like spam it on LinkedIn, or I'll spam it on my YouTube channel, just so people are aware of it and can take advantage of that opportunity. Okay, so I know we're coming up on time. Do you want to take one or two more questions, Heath? Or
let's do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Well, we're not going to take that question. Okay, so I guess this is a good question. Will PNPT? I know you said you had a couple different versions of it, of the environment. What are you looking for? Iterations and such.
Yeah, so we're constantly, I think, going to be revamping the environment. In terms of iterative versions, we're not going to do like a, hey, this is a V2 of PNPT, and here you have to go buy all new coursework and everything else. If the environment changes, we've been constantly updating the PEH and our other courses. So like PEH just underwent a pretty big revamp to bring it into 2021. And that's the kind of mentality that we have. Once you purchase that, you get the course and the materials, and that's your lifetime access. So there's not going to be a version 2 or version 3. It's just going to be an ongoing thing. And we don't have like CEU requirements or renewal requirements or anything like that. It's very much anti-industry from that regard. It's just, hey, do you have the knowledge, or do you not have it? And so that's your piece of paper to prove that you at least had it at one point in time. So
yeah. So we'll take one last question, and I love it. It's not really about PNPT, but it's a personal question, Heath. Not super invasive, right? But so what was your first experience like on a pen test? And I ask this because I think a lot of people are seeing this and thinking, holy crap, like this is actually within my reach. It's affordable. It's from, you know, someone who knows exactly what they're talking about. And there's a lot of opportunity in the job space for this. Like this could be me, but the unknown is always a bit scary, and it can be intimidating. So, you know, people look to you as like this, you know, elite pen tester expert, but you started somewhere, right? So can you share with us what your first pen test was like?
Yeah, so typically as a pen tester, you get thrown onto external engagements as your like junior level. So you kind of work your way up into more difficult stuff. But from an external standpoint, I very much approached it like it was, I don't know, like a Vuln Hub or like a Hack the Box or anything. I was like, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to scan for vulnerabilities. And I'm going to look for those and see if I can get in. It was a few days into that assessment that one of my coworkers was like, "Hey, how's it going? Have you done any OSINT?" And I'm just like, "What's OSINT? I don't even know what you're talking about." And he's like, "You realize that there are breach credentials and data out there, and you should be gathering emails and trying to break in that way because there's not really a good chance that you're going to find any vulnerabilities doing the methodology that you're doing." So immediately, with like first assessment in the books, I was completely going at it wrong. And yeah, I mean, I was an immediate learning experience from understanding what like credential stuffing was and password spraying and understanding about the OSINT aspect of trying to get into networks. That was a quick learning experience, and just one of those things, again, like we were talking about, that you're not really taught. It's one of those things that you just kind of like get thrown into on the job, and you hopefully have a good enough team to say, hey, these are the things you should be doing, and working on it. So first pen test went okay, but it was definitely a rocky start, just because it's always a learning experience.
Oh yeah. So thank you, Heath, for sharing that, and you know, even admitting that, you know, like OSINT, which everybody, like if you've worked in the space for a while, you might be like, oh, that's kind of obvious. That's the first step of reconnaissance and all this. And it's interesting and reassuring for those who may not have heard that, or they come across something they didn't know, to know that, you know, it's okay, and everybody has that experience at some point.
Yeah, I mean, my first internal, like literally I didn't know anything about Active Directory going in. My first internal, I did off a blog post. Like I just went out there and Googled, how do you perform pen tests against Active Directory, and just started finding blogs and just chucking stuff at the environment until something worked. And that was really my methodology of learning, is just like repetition through all these different tools and techniques until you find out what's really working and what's not. And yeah, there really wasn't a lot of education or training on that back in the day. So you're just kind of thrown into the mix, and just being hopeful that you can figure it out.
That's awesome. All right. Well, so we're just about at time. Oh, we got a super chat here. Cyber Columbia. How do I make this thing appear? And there it is. Thank you, Cyber Columbiana. Very nice. Appreciate the super chat there, letting us know that you're enjoying the stream here. So speaking of that, Heath, I don't know if you're familiar with Haunted Hacker, but just to promote like our upcoming show. So a week from today, I'm actually starting to do Thursdays at 4:30. I'm really reticent to announce it as like an ongoing stream schedule, but it seems like that's what I'm doing. But we're going to be having Ryan Williams from Haunted Hacker coming on. He's a pen tester, so in the same space that Heath's operating in, and he's going to be talking about unconventional paths into cybersecurity. So he has an unusual, uncommon, backstory on his entry into the space, and we're just going to talk to him about that to help really understand and share with everybody that, not everybody's a 4-year computer science degree and then, 3 years of working in industry and then OSCP and then off you go. Like there's a lot of different entry points. There's a lot of different on-ramps. So please join us next week to check that out. Heath, any final thoughts for our audience before we push off?
No, I think it's great that Ryan's coming on, and it's something I was talking to somebody about yesterday. It's like when you talk to somebody, 50% of the time you expect them not to have had an IT background. They come from somewhere weird, like, I don't know, a lawyer or a teacher or some kind of unique background, and then find their way and find their passions, especially because there's not really a lot of especially pen testing. There's not a lot of pen testing university college courses out there to get you into it. So people come down these weird paths when they hear about pen testing and cybersecurity, and I think you're going to see a lot of that until we actually have formal education, maybe way in the future. But it's always interesting to hear about people's unique paths coming into the industry, and anybody can do it. So if you're listening from a non-IT background, doesn't mean that it's not possible. You might have a little bit of work ahead of you, but it's definitely doable. And there's lots of people out there living that proof.
Yeah, and I think it's all about the investment you put in is proportional to what you get out of it, right? So if you commit, if you make the time, if you're serious about it, you get the right resources. The sky's the limit. Like I keep saying, I know it's a little hyperbolic, but I feel like we're living in the golden age of cybersecurity education and training. Like, I know I'm a little bit older than you, Heath, a little bit, but 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's like, it wasn't even really a discipline that had its own kind of vertical. It was like a subset of IT, and there wasn't a lot of training. Maybe you're reading like on, weird forums, like how to do like very specific attacks versus, a core curriculum. And now where we are today, where there's so much education that you can have really specialized skill sets.
Yeah. And just for people watching, like just for reference, I was an accountant 5 years ago. So if you think that you have to have some crazy 10-year plus journey into InfoSec, if you think that like anything that I do is cool, just know it's been done within the past 5 years. So it's totally what you do and what you make of it and the effort that you put in, a little bit of luck along the way. And it's all about effort and what you're putting into it.
All right. So you guys, it's Heath Adams, a cyber mentor. He really doesn't need much introduction or outro. You guys know how to get a hold of him. He's on Discord, interacting on there. You're pretty frequent on Twitter as well. The guy's the CEO though, so he is busy. So I will say, reach out, but if he doesn't respond immediately, it's not a personal offense. It's just, he's a busy man. So, all right. Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to wrap it up today. Thank you all for joining the live stream. I really, really appreciate it. And until next time, thank you, Heath, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.